Hello everyone, welcome back to Allcarnews, and we are still in the Infiniti QX60 autograph here for 2024, and I want to take you guys on a full tour of this interior before it gets facelifted, which is rumored to be happening next year with some interior changes. But right now I think it's a decent interior. Some gripes I'm definitely going to go over with you guys in this video, but nonetheless, let's flip the camera around and see what we're dealing with in this Infiniti QX60. Hey everyone, here we are in the QX60. Now I'm going to turn it off for you guys, which you can do right here, and then turn it back on so we can kind of get a little bit of an idea of what it's like when you turn on and off your Infiniti QX60. Closing the door here, we can press our stop start button, which is located right here, and it comes to life pretty easily. See a nice little startup animation right there, and you can see we are currently in a different style gauge view. So let's first look at these gauges we have up front here. Pretty nice looking digital display. We also have a 10+ inch infotainment system, heads-up display up here, which you can kind of get a little bit of a hint at, not really super visible on camera. This screen is okay. My biggest complaints actually are with the infotainment system over here, and the strangest thing is that it's really not that bad of a system. It's a little bit dark right now how the lighting is set. This is on the brightest setting right now. Sometimes it does the auto night mode and bright mode. You can see here this little button. Now this infotainment system is actually very quick to operate. The touch responses are very fast, which I do appreciate, and you can also control it with this physical dial here. You see you have hard buttons for audio, menu, map, a back button, camera, and you also have this little control wheel which kind of moves around. You can see that moving around on the display here, which is pretty easy and quick to use. Now the issue is, if you cannot already tell, is that this piece here is always there. So you really effectively only have about just more than half of the display that you can actually use at all times. And the only way to expand to the full display is to actually use the Infiniti mapping system. And to use the Infiniti mapping system, you just press the maps, and you can press full screen on your maps there. And that is actually the only way to kind of get this full advantage of this gigantic screen here. And unfortunately, that's a little bit irritating, because it would look fantastic, especially when you're in things like Apple CarPlay, which only is able to take up this little piece of the display because of this side screen right here. And of course you can use things like Apple Maps if you want to use Waze and all those other things. You can use them, but they're only going to take up this little piece of the display. Now what is nice is that when you can go home, you can go to settings, you can go to customize menus and customize split screen. You can make this split screen a digital clock. You can make it current conditions, turn by turn, and the turn by turn will actually pull from Apple Maps if you're using it, for example. So I guess it could be useful. You can even display music and stuff and have it always there if you want to pop into different screens. But I think generally it's a little bit inconvenient that you can't use this display, and I'm pretty sure it wouldn't really be difficult to kind of just increase it. I think it's just a software update thing, so hopefully they can fix that down the road. But otherwise, the infotainment system is generally just a fine system to use. A lot of the stuff in here is being pulled from what appears to be Sirius XM. So you see Sirius XM Sports, weather, fuel prices, sports scores, traffic's all coming from Sirius XM. So I'm sure restaurants as well. So that's interesting to note, and probably the weather. You have this little home style car display, and you only access some of your settings through this infotainment system, which I'll get to in a second. We do have massaging seats actually on this QX60, so you can press that button there, and you can actually kind of adjust the massaging seats settings. If I can find the display for you guys, sometimes it glitches out like this, which I have noticed. So you can go to massage seat settings and change from like relaxing to refreshing or lumbar massage, and you can change the intensity and speed for both the driver and passenger, which is really nice. And that button is on the seat located right there for you. And that's about it really on here. There's not too much to kind of dig through. And I say that because a lot of the settings for the vehicle are shockingly actually in the main driver display there, which we'll get to in a second. So I'm just gonna pop this back on the map screen for you guys, or even in Apple CarPlay, just let it sit there. This screen actually has a lot more importance than you may think. I'm not sure why they kind of put so much stuff in there. So right now you can see we're in this kind of just nice screen layout. We have a nice little gauges there. We can change our gauges by pressing this button here and pressing change meter view, and it will do this animation to go to this other style display. So you really only have two styles of your display for your gauges there. I prefer this one because it kind of frees up the center area for you. You can control the center area with this left part of the steering wheel, from left and back and up and down. So you can see here we have three little scroll bars for our safety system screen. You can see all our safety system stuff there. Going to the right, we have a settings screen. We have a home page here, which you can kind of customize. You can put music and navigation there. We have a fuel economy screen, so we can see our average fuel economy. It's just our trip computer, really. So we can see that display right there. Going to the right again, we can see we have our auto stop start information, so more vehicle information. There's a little bit of a 4x4 all-wheel drive information display as well, and as well as a TPMS sensor screen there. Navigation system here, and interesting to note there is that if you do, you can actually get the maps up here, and of course you have to use Infiniti's navigation system to put the maps up there. I might as well expand it on here. I could press search, and you actually have to enter a destination to get the maps onto there. So let's say we can put in a Dunkin' Donuts, for example. I cannot spell today. Dunkin'. So we have a destination set, and now you can see that the maps are being pulled up there. That's the only way you can actually get a map in the screen, but you can do it, and the heads-up display will display turn-by-turn stuff. But that's, if you want a map there, that's your only option. Otherwise, you can get turn-by-turn directions with like arrows from Apple Maps pointed in here and on your heads-up display, but that's about it. We have a music screen here. We'll display Apple CarPlay. And again, we have this safety system screen here. Now, I'm saying the screen is so important is because once you go into the settings page here, which I'm going to try to show you guys, there is so much stuff in here. So your traction control settings are found in here. Your driver assistance settings, and I mean all of your driver assistance settings are found in this display, not here. And a lot of them are actually grayed out while you're moving. You can see there's a lot of stuff coming on this Infiniti QX60 that you can adjust in here. Steering assist, lane assist, you have your blind spot assist, emergency assist, speed limit sign, all that stuff can be found here. And you know, it's a little bit cluttered to use sometimes. I wish they kind of put some more of the setting stuff just in here and not in this main display here, but that's how they laid out stuff. You have your personal display. You can control your heads-up display, directions, and content. Not too much content can be displayed in there. Don't want to reset it, but you can see we have navigation, driving assist, speed limit sign, audio, and the driving assist button, which we'll get to in a second, does take up the full display up there, which is nice. We have eco mode settings, TPMS settings, our tire pressure, we have a clock settings, vehicle settings, which goes even deeper. From your lighting settings are actually in here, not in the infotainment system. Your locking settings are in here as well. Wiper set, like everything is in this screen. Even the drive mode, you can adjust your steering feel, you can adjust your acceleration. There's a trace control, and that's about it. And here, driving position settings can be found on here, so it's kind of easy to enter and exit. So there's a lot of stuff baked into this display. Maintenance stuff, we got customized the display in here, route guidance, welcome effect, on and on and on. There's a lot of stuff found in this kind of display here. So it's very important. So if anything does go bad and you need to change stuff in the vehicle, you're going to be relying on this display here and not this one. So that's a very important thing to keep in mind. Steering wheel controls are pretty basic. On our right hand side, we have our pilot assist button right here, which will always bring up our kind of safety system screen. And this is really where I think the heads-up display comes into play, because it kind of does display a lot of information for your driver assist stuff up there, which I do quite like. Down here, again, we kind of previewed these little controls here. We do have a drive mode selector. It doesn't change your gauges, but you'll see here, it kind of just cycles through these little drive modes here. You have that personal one, sport, auto, eco, and there is a snow mode, which can be used in low speed settings. I usually just keep it in auto because eco mode doesn't honestly do that much. And I do really like how Infiniti has separated the climate controls in this panel here. There are no climate settings whatsoever in this top screen. It's all found down here. If you can kind of see right now, it might be a little bit dirty, and that's just due to it being a gloss black panel. It's an interesting panel. It's actually a touch panel, but it has very violent haptic feedback, which honestly is a good thing. So if you might want to be able to hear it here. So there's a very strong haptic feedback. It kind of reminds me of the old Cadillac Q systems from a while ago, but more reliable, I would say. We do have these physical control knobs for your temperature, as well as a volume knob here, and you can also control the rear climate control, as well as a clean setting to kind of clean your interior air, which is a nice function. We have our buttons here for seek, track, tune folder, as well as that dimming button we have here, which is automatic, or you can kind of set it to whatever you want. Again, not too much going on here. We have this wireless charging mat. Honestly, it fits my iPhone 15 Pro Max here pretty well, and it doesn't really charge the phone much. I felt my phone really just getting more hot than charging at a higher speed, but thankfully we do have a USB-C and A port in there, which is nice. We also have a 12-volt socket down here if you need to use that, with a decent sized center console. And There are some physical buttons here. I believe this is for our steering assist to turn on and off, and we do have a trunk open button here, but there really isn't too many safety system buttons, so really all baked into this menu here. And same thing up here, it's just our lighting controls and our window shade for our panoramic roof. Not too many like physical controls here. A lot of stuff is baked into these screens, which is fine. And I guess only one weird gripe is I think this shifter is a little strange looking. It works completely fine. Pretty simple to pop it into drive, pop it into reverse, and park. It's not difficult to use. It's just funky looking, but at least we have a physical shifter and not some buttons all over the place. One thing I will note is this camera system is just not the highest resolution I'd like to see in a 2024 model that costs $70,000. And it has great features. We have pedestrian detection, we have detection for rear cross traffic alert and all that stuff, but it's just the camera resolution is just a little bit on the lower end quality side, and you can kind of change these few different views, but generally I wish it was just a little bit clearer for the price. Nonetheless, guys, this was a quick tour of the Infiniti QX60's interior, and I almost forgot to note that we have a digital camera on this one, which honestly works quite well, and it's good for that third row if you have kids back there blocking out your rear mirror or your rear window. This is a helpful little feature with home link as well in there, and that's easy to adjust with your brightness and a few other settings up here. Anyways, guys, thank you again for joining me on this quick tour of the QX60's interior, and as always, stay tuned for more coming on Allcarnews. Cheers.